All right, Maya. So football is this much closer to being back with the Seattle Seahawks wrapping up week one of their preseason schedule. The Seahawks dropped this one 32-25 to the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. But the real story for the Seattle Seahawks this preseason and really the entire offseason is that quarterback competition between Geno Smith and Drew Lock. And looking at the outcome of this game from a high level perspective, you got Drew Lock throwing 2 touchdowns, leading 2 touchdown drives. Geno Smith only led 1 touchdown drive with that 2-minute drill right at the end of the half, running it in there. Give me your high level thoughts and your breakdown of Geno Smith and Drew Lock specifically about this game.
So the key thing for me here, and the big word that jumps off the page, is that of decisiveness.
Yep, definitely.
Decisiveness in action, decisiveness in decision making. And that is what I would use to describe Drew Lock running this offense. He was extremely decisive. Geno Smith seemed to scramble around in the back a lot. He seemed to hold on the ball too long a lot of the time. But Drew Lock came out there and he even as well made a play with his legs. But Drew Lock seemed to know what he was doing every time he stepped on the field. Even in his misses, he was very confident in his play. And that showed on the field. And he had a much better showing overall than Smith as well, even with all of that being said. So Drew Lock seemed to me have a better showing. He seemed to be more comfortable in the offense, and he seemed to be a better all-around player in his decisiveness and his decision-making as the quarterback of this offense. What did you think, Nick?
Yeah, so I think the interesting thing is I actually expected the way Smith played would be how Locke played, right? Smith seemed a little unsure of himself. He was quick to kind of scramble and run around. And granted, he made a few nice plays with his legs there. I know there was one third down conversion, I think, towards the end of the first half where he escaped the pass rush and ran around a lot and got the first down. And obviously he ran for the touchdown. But I felt like he gave up early on plays. I remember some time in the red zone. It was, I think, third down, second and like 12 or 13, and he had a quick receiver for maybe 6 or 7. Instead, he held on to the ball too long, ended up having to essentially throw it away. They had to settle for 3 instead of having a real shot to score. So I think Geno Smith seemed like unconfident. He didn't seem like a guy who's actually been in this offense for a long time, which he obviously has been. Drew Lock, on the other hand, came out right away and looked in control, looked like he belonged, knew exactly what he was doing, exactly where he was going. And again, it's not like Lock got a lot of easy reads and short passes. By my count, Geno Smith had 2 footballs that he threw 15 yards down the field or longer, 2 attempts. Drew Lock had 3. So it's not like they put the training wheels on Lock and that they said, hey, Lock, we're only going to throw screens and checkdowns and things like that at you. We're going to keep it really simple. They seem to give the same kind of offensive strategy for both Smith and Lock. And I thought Lock looked better. And one thing that really jumped out at me late in the game, it was, I think, 3rd and 12 near midfield. They're driving towards field goal range or so. Instead of potentially, he's under pressure, Drew Lock rips it 20 yards down the seam. He doesn't complete the pass, but the fact he was that aggressive and going for it, because if it's 3rd and 12 and he throws it away or takes a check down, it's a punt anyway. But at that situation, he wants to go for the win. He wants to give his team the best chance. And he had the confidence and the ability to just step in and deliver a decent throw. It was incomplete, but still, I love the fact that he was willing to make that throw. Geno Smith wasn't willing to make those throws. The turnover at the end wasn't really his fault. He got blindsided off the edge. I'm not blaming him for that. But again, I agree with you 100% that Locke had a really strong showing and made up any ground in this quarterback battle. But let's pull up the stats and compare them a little bit here. What do you think of just breaking down the numbers? They're actually relatively similar in terms of statistics here. What's your overall thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we got Smith here, who was 10 of 15. Locke was 11 of 15. 101 yards for Smith, 102 for Locke,
Yeah.
6.7 and 6.8. So
Yeah.
pretty dead nuts similar on the stats. The only thing you see here is 2 touchdowns for Locke in the passing department. That would be 0 for Smith. And Smith did end up running for a touchdown as well, but Locke had a nice little 3-yard scamper. So, they're pretty similar, except Locke seemed to be more decisive, as we said. He knew where he was going more, and he was also able to convert a little bit better. So, that's something to be considered when looking at all things given to you. And I think that Locke just seems, to me, he came out and proved to me that he is the clear-cut winner of this QB competition so far, and he deserves to be given the keys to the offense at this juncture. So, I mean, Geno Smith came out, and he should have, if he came out and led this offense and gave Locke's performance, that would have been what I expected from him. But Locke came out, exceeded expectations, and Geno, in my mind, underperformed. So that is why I think at this point, Locke is the clear-cut favorite to take over the helm.
Yeah, you and I were talking during the game, and when Geno Smith did some things nice, he didn't turn the football over or make a bad throw or bad decision, but he never really did anything spectacular. And we talked about it. He says he looks like what Geno Smith is, and that's a good backup. He was a starter today, obviously, but he played as a way a backup would play. He scored 10 points in his half. Drew Lock scored 15. Drew Lock was clearly more aggressive, clearly more assertive. Geno Smith, despite being the starter and the favorite, at least going into the training camp on some people's eyes, he played more timid, played as if he was, backing up Russell Wilson or somebody again, which was very surprising to me. I was expecting to see at least a little bit more confident Geno Smith. And, there were reports going into this game that, Drew Lock outplayed Geno Smith in their annual mock game a few days ago. So the trend right now is 100% in Lock's direction. And I wouldn't be surprised in game 2 of the preseason if we see Drew Lock as their starter.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.